Let's take a trip in a trailer. No need to come back at all. Let's take the powder to Boston for chowder. Let's get away from it all.
Hi, it's Papa Doug.
And Grandma Sally.
And this is our second YouTube video about how on earth do you do it? How do we live this non-traditional, on-the-road lifestyle? And the first video had to do with the basics, the foundations, just having the right attitude to make it work for us. But the second video here is much more what people mean when they ask us, how do you do it? How does it work? So I'd call this one the logistics. And then the third one will be day to day. So some of the questions we get here would be like, but where do you live? Well, you know, people expect us to say, oh yeah, we're traveling, we're on the road, but when do you go home? There isn't any home.
There is home. It's wherever we are parked.
Our beautiful and talented daughter-in-law gave us a dish towel that we have hanging in our trailer that says home is where you park it. And that's very true. Wherever we go, that's where home is. And it took a while for us to actually decide, instead of saying, let's go back to the trailer or the park, we just say, let's go home.
Yeah.
And wherever that is, that's where we're going. So home is wherever we are. But that isn't enough. You have to have a legal residence. You can't just be a hobo. You can't be, you know, homeless really and be responsible. Because you need a legal residence for things like taxes and
Social Security.
Social Security. We want that money. It's got to go somewhere.
Retirement
Retirement. And also, we pull our house wherever we go. We pull our house by driving our truck. You can't get a driver's license unless you have an address, a residence, a home residence. So we do have a street address. We've never lived there, but we have a street address. First of all, we chose Texas as our home state. Why? Why?
Two things. One, it has no sales.
Gosh, I wrote down a whole lot more than that. But anyway, at least two things.
At least two things. It doesn't have state income tax, and that was very advantageous to a retirement income that is fixed. So we loved that. And also, we have grandchildren and children in this state, and Texas is rather pivotal on our travel.
Yeah, we have
Texas,
Michigan, Texas,
California.
Southern California.
Yeah.
So we kind of go this way, and Texas is in the middle.
We
you
make
might
a
say.
smiley face.
Yes. And so it's on the way between the two extreme groups of kids and grandkids. So we're going to be here anyway. We might as well make it our home. Also, Sally mentioned that it doesn't have a state income tax, and that's nice. But it also has a lot of other policies that make it extra friendly to full-time RVers. They make a point to be friendly to full-time RVers. But where do we live in? It's a big state.
It is.
Where do we live in Texas? Our address is in Livingston, Texas. Now, why did we choose Livingston, Texas?
Because we did a lot of research about mail forwarding companies, and we found one that is expressly for full-time RVers.
Escapees.
And they are in Livingston, Texas.
And yeah, the name of the company, the group is Escapees,
Yes.
RV. And they are among other things, they are mail forwarding agents. And so our legal address, where we live, is a mailbox.
Yeah.
It's not even really, we'll discuss this a little bit more.
Yeah.
It's not a real mailbox.
It's a folder.
File
We live in a
folder.
folder.
That's right. Hanging file folder is our official address.
But they've been doing this a long time. They
Since-
are very good at it.
1984 or 85.
Yeah.
So they've been doing this a long time. And, well, let's just go ahead and explain what they do. We went to Escapees in Livingston, and we asked if we could tour their mail facility and take some pictures because we wanted to show you what it was like, and they said no. Not because they're mean, but because of federal regulations, you know, in this age of
They are like
terrorism.
a post office.
They are a post office. Escapees has its own zip code. And they have, I was blown away, they have over 10,000 10,000 subscribers.
They're really a small city.
Yeah, in fact, they have more mailing addresses than this one little building has more mailing addresses than the town of Livingston, Texas, by about double. And so that is our hometown, Livingston, Texas, even though we've never lived there for one day. But we go visit each time we come through this area of Texas.
Our library is there.
Our library is there, and you go, but you don't live there. You can't really check out books. Not true. Au contraire, mon frère. We do check out, when we're here, we're usually in the area for about 3 weeks at a time. So we have checked out books, for that time period. But what we do is we check out digital media on the road. So we get audio books or digital books and read those through the library on the road. So that's very nice. And
Invaluable.
very helpful.
Yeah.
Right. And so where do we live? We live in Livingston, Texas for legal purposes, but we live on the road. So you might ask, where do you stay when we're on the road? Where do we stay?
We have a membership to Thousand Trails camping group, and so we largely live in Thousand Trails parks across the country.
They have about 180 parks.
If you count the Thousand Trails
and Encore, we have a membership that combines both of those, and that comes to about 180 or so parks around the country.
Yeah.
And once we paid our membership fee, a one-time membership fee, and a reasonable annual dues, if you don't count that, then we can stay in any of those parks for free for the rest of our lives, as long as we keep paying our annual dues, which I said is pretty reasonable. The Thousand Trails parks are spread primarily East Coast, South, and West Coast.
sort of in the smiley face that we like, in a sort of a U shape. The flaw would be if you want to, and we do have some plans to go in the middle of the country. There aren't Thousand Trails parks there, and then we'll be paying, the nightly fee.
We'll be paying a nightly fee, but we also belong to RPI, Resort Parks International, and that's a very reasonable fee for
It
each
is.
year. And once we pay that fee, then we stay in any of those parks, and there are a lot of those parks, and we paid $10 a night in those.
Yeah.
So we were in California over the winter. We spent 3 weeks in Menifee. We spent 1 week in Beaumont at an RPI park, and then 3 weeks back in Menifee. So we were 7
And then
weeks.
2 weeks in Pio
2 weeks
Pico.
in Pio Pico. So that's 6, 7, 8, 9 weeks, and it cost us $70.
$70.
So
Yeah.
we find that it's a real good deal for us. So that's where we live legally and where we stay when we're on the road. And sometimes we can't do that, so we'll stay at a state park or we'll stay at just a KOA type park. But what about, this is the other thing people want to know, but what do you do about like doctors and dentists and stuff like that? What do we do about doctors and dentists?
Well, we tried to identify a park that we felt most comfortable in, and it is at that park that we wanted to establish all of those things that make residency a home. And that park that we chose is Lake Conroe in Texas.
And one reason we chose Lake Conroe is because it is one of the flagship parks of the Thousand Trails.
It's a beautiful
nice park. But it also is the closest park to Livingston, our home address. So if we have to go over and take care of business, driver's licenses, insurance, any of that
Lawyer.
stuff, it's about an hour drive.
easy.
So it's, go over for a day, come back.
But our doctors are here.
In
Our
Conroe.
doctors and our dentists are here.
When we left Terre Haute, we got our legal record, our medical records from our doctor's clinic and from our dentist, and we had them transferred to a doctor and dentist here. And so we do have a doctor, we do have a dentist, we have a tax person that we saw this year. So
I had to go to the hospital for a test, so we now have a relationship with a very good local hospital.
But we're only here basically 3 weeks in the spring, 3 weeks in the fall. This is our third stay here in this area. And so what do we do in the middle? If we're in California or we're in Michigan, we aren't going to drive back to Conroe to go to the doctor. So what do we do?
We're really lucky because our dentist is a phone call away. And he even said, if you need me, just get on the phone and call me. I will get you a prescription, or I will get you a recommendation of some of them that will take care of your problem until you get home. And then he's very good.
And our doctor does the same thing.
And even more so, our doctor has an online portal. And so all of our records are online. If we get a shot, which I just did, I can add it to my portal so she will know. We can also contact her through the portal, and she will respond either with an email. She will send a prescription nearest to me. Our prescriptions are at Walmart. They're Walmarts.
They're everywhere.
Yeah, ubiquitous.
That's convenient.
And so it's wonderful. So it has been really great.
But
These relationships have helped us have a higher comfort zone when we're on the road.
But even beyond that, if last year we were in Colonial Beach, near Colonial Beach, Virginia, and Sally got sick. She was not feeling well. So what do? She went to the local, it was either CVS or a Walgreens, where
I think it was CVS.
They have the walk-in clinics, and saw a nurse
clinic
practitioner, I think. And she talked to her, and she prescribed some medicine, and she did
and I'd
follow-up.
fallen that week, and she gave me a tetanus shot. And so there are some wonderful ways now for staying healthy on the road.
Right. So another question: What do we do with I just wrote down utilities. Of course, we don't. Our electricity, our water, our sewage is all included in our campsite here. We don't pay anything for electricity, water, or sewage. That leaves, what about phone? Obviously, we don't have a landline. We just have our cell phones.
Right.
The most interesting thing about that is that we purposefully are on two different plans. We have two different providers. We could probably do it cheaper with one provider and two lines. But since we're on different providers, and we get into some pretty weird places in this country, since we have two different providers, that means that there are times when I can't get a signal,
But I can.
but Sally can, or vice versa.
Yeah.
So that way, no matter where we are, chances are one of us can get out. Usually. Now, when we
Not
were in
Pio Pico.
Pio Pico, we were in the middle of a canyon.
We were. That
And
is such a beautiful place.
yes, it's a beautiful place, but you are incommunicado when
Really?
you're there. You have to go climb a mountain to get a cell signal.
They
literally.
have a mountain. Well, it's really a hill, but it's right behind the teen activity room, and there are chairs up on the mountain. And I asked during we were having getting ready for water aerobics, and I said, "What are those chairs?" And she said, "Oh, that's great cell service up there." And sure enough,
Great
people-
cell service, meaning
Yeah.
you can get at least one
One bar.
Yeah. And they have the chairs up on the hillside there, and they call that hillside with the chairs the phone booth.
They do.
So yeah, that's how we communicate. And what about our ISP, our internet service provider? How do we do internet? Because it's nice to have your cell phone, but I'm a fogey. I'm old fashioned. I want my computer with a big screen and a keyboard. And I don't have an internet service provider here. I have my cell phone, my Verizon account. I use that as my personal hotspot.
Right.
So I've got my data on my phone line, and I get unlimited data. But if I use more than 22 gigabytes in a month, then they'll throttle me back. So I have to still kind of manage
For
it.
my laptop, I don't mind going into the adult activity center almost always has
Almost all the parks have some
almost
places
always
where you
have
can
a
go.
place where you can get free
Wi-Fi.
Wi-Fi.
And what about cable? What about, satellite TV?
No,
No.
we don't have that.
We have an antenna right there on top of the roof of the trailer. Crank
Wind
it up, point it toward the closest antennas, transmission towers, and we get over-the-air television.
What we get. We
Right.
get what we get.
And sometimes
And
that's
we don't
great.
throw a fit.
Sometimes that's
to
great.
quote the grandchildren.
We get near some large cities, and we have 40, 50 channels to choose from. There are places where
Today, We have two. I don't know why. Houston is not that far,
But
we
for
have
some reason
two.
we're having trouble getting
But
them.
we get them very well.
When we were in New Mexico, we got, I think, 16 channels.
We did.
Not one
Not
was in
one.
English. Not
Yeah.
one of them was
But
in
it was
English.
really interesting watching it.
And we get some channels, some places where we get maybe 6 channels, but they're all the local college educational channels. So it's, one is Sesame Street, and one is all cooking shows, stuff like that. So
Yeah.
tell the truth, we don't watch a lot of TV. You wouldn't think that, because a lot of times the TV's on, but what we're doing is watching DVDs or Blu-ray, something
we watch
like
more
that.
videos, yeah.
And we'll talk about that kind of thing when we talk about the day-to-day, how we live, in our...
I do want to say one thing on utilities that we didn't mention, and that is heating. We, of course, you probably know that most trailers have propane for their stove, for the grill, and for the furnace. But we have found, since we get free electricity, that we have a wonderful fireplace unit in our RV, and it has really done a great job of warming up the trailer.
Now, before you get really confused here, we have a fireplace in our trailer.
It's
basically an electric heater
Right.
that has a beautiful
But it's lovely.
fake fire in it.
And we also have another little space heater, a ceramic space heater that we use, and we very rarely,
We have a full gas,
Yeah,
propane
we have a
furnace, ducted furnace, just, a nice
that
thing.
costs money.
We pay for
and,
propane.
And if you have free electricity,
We use that if we can. Now, on really cold nights, we just turn on the furnace and,
yeah, let it go.
That's
at
good.
night.
And what about finances? What about our banking and everything? When we lived in Terre Haute, we belonged to a regional bank, Fifth Third, but now that we're on the road, that Fifth Third just isn't everywhere. So
Yeah.
we closed those accounts and we opened up an account in National Bank. We chose Bank of America. So pretty much everywhere we go.
And they were very helpful in the transition.
But we don't go to the bank very often at
We
all,
really
because
don't.
we signed up for paperless billing. We got all of our bills through the email or through notices, and we have all direct deposits for all of our income. So we do I do our banking online now. Even though I like my big computer with the big screen, I do most of it on my phone through the Bank of America app. Pay all
And
the
my
bills.
little one bill that I pay.
Right. And we write very, very few checks. We write a check pretty much each Sunday to church, wherever we're visiting, and that's it. So those are the logistics. That's how we make this work on the road for us. We have a home base, Conroe, and we kind of emanate out of there as we travel.
We have a forwarding agent, an excellent forwarding agent in Livingston.
So they're a forwarding agent. We didn't mention this when we were talking about our mail. When you send a card to us, for example, a birthday card or a
Which
Christmas
we
card,
actually ask you not to do that.
you
we would
know,
rather have an email.
we appreciate the
yeah.
sentiment, but it's better for us if you just send us an email or
Yeah.
an e-card or a gift
go on
certificate or something
Go on
like that.
Facebook, and
Right,
so
Facebook.
any prayer needs, go on Facebook. That's immediate. We always check.
Because you send us a card to Livingston, Texas. You pay for it to go to Livingston. It comes to Livingston after however long it takes to get there. They take it and they put it in our file folder. Then they let us know. And they have a wonderful program where before they put it in our file folder, they scan the envelope and they post that online. So I can go in and
our
I can
account.
see what they'll send us an email saying, you have new mail. You've got mail. Doesn't say that, but you have new mail scans. And so I go online and it says, here's something from State Farm. Here's something from Dad. Here's something from
Mary Beth.
anybody.
Yeah.
And so we know, oh, we want to get this. If it's junk mail, we can say, throw that away
Right.
and never get it forwarded to us.
Brochures that still come.
Stuff like that. So they scan it. We go online and say, yeah, send this to us. And we tell them, we send them an email saying, send this to this address. And it's either the park where we're going to be staying, or a lot of our parks don't accept USPS mail.
Yeah.
So we have to have it forwarded to the local post office to general delivery.
But we only do that about once
So that's the thing. They send it to us when we say, send us
Yeah.
our mail now. And we don't do that every day. We don't do that every week. Sometimes we'll go 2 or 3 weeks depending on
Because
how
we pay
much
for
mail we got.
the mail.
We pay to have it forwarded.
Right.
So you pay to send it and we pay to get it.
Postage.
Postage. So you send it to us, it goes to Livingston. It can sit there for a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks.
There's
and then
not
we
only
say,
the delay,
then we
there's the
say, send it
cost.
to us. And they mail it to us. And we've had it take as long as a week
we have.
to get from escapees to wherever we are, because sometimes there are holidays in there, weekends, and so it could be a month by the time we get
Like your birthday
the,
card from your dad.
the birthday
which
card.
was so sweet.
Yeah. So that's the biggest reason we say, hey, if you want to contact us, do it electronically. You'll do it a lot faster. Or give us a call. You know, most
We love
of
to
you
hear
know
from
our,
you.
our phone numbers and our
We
email
love to hear
addresses.
from the grandkids.
Yeah. So those are the logistics of how life on the road works. Like I said, next time we do one of these, it'll be how we live day to day. What's it like living in a 34-foot travel trailer in a campground, in a park, in a strange city?
2 words.
2 words.
It's great.
It's fun. We have a good time. Well, that's enough. Gosh,
That's
we've
it.
run on and run on today. So this is Papa Doug,
And Grandma Sally.
and we're saying bye-bye.
Bye.
Get away from it all.